ladies and gentlemen, it is crunch time here in Studio B at Austin Peay State University. We have a little bit of a different look here. We also have a little bit of a different cast. It is myself, Christian Hunt, as usual. It is Dylan Walton to my right, as usual. And then we have this new guy to our left, Bryce Robinson, who will be joining us for the foreseeable future, Austin Peay legend, who will be joining us. Well, I'm going to let him introduce himself, give everybody.
No, I'm not 6'2". I wish I was 6'2".
No,
I'm right at 6 foot.
With cleats.
Grazing the line right at 6 foot.
Yeah, he has to have cleats on to be 6 foot.
With cleats on, yeah.
5'11" and 99 pounds.
That's right.
So, again, a little different setup. We got kicked out of the radio studio. No, I mean, in all reality, this is a lot easier. Maybe not today. Our setup today was pretty chaotic. But this is where home will be for the foreseeable future. And then we have a little house cleaning. Obviously, Reese Britt is not here right now, unfortunately. We had a little bit of a breakup. No, in full reality, Reese Britt is a Division I athlete. None of us are, so he doesn't have as much free time on his hand. He was a Division I athlete, but he's no longer at this point, so he's got a lot more free time. Reese Britt will not be a regular. He still has an invite. He still has the ability to be on the show.
Open arms, Reese.
Open arms. He can come back at any time. It's just it will not be a weekly thing like it used to be. So we're very sad that he can't join us weekly because I love to talk smack to him about his Commanders and the Tennessee Vols, but
bleeding that orange.
He does bleed that orange. But yeah, so that's why he won't be on the show. But again, we wish him well, and we're going to be talking about him a lot on this show probably. But yeah, so with that being said, one other little thing. This show will be an hour show.
Boom.
For the foreseeable future. All right, so we will be on here longer than normal, which is awesome. It's us talking smack for about an hour. We'll also have some segments that you'll see later on done by some of our very own here in the comms department, some of our very own athletes, actually. And you'll see those stories here today as well. But, guys, it's been a little bit of a long intro. I'm going to let you guys talk about y'all summer. How was it?
Go ahead. You go first.
Okay. Yeah. Rookie last. You right. You rookie last. The summer was interesting. Had an internship at LeBonner Children's Hospital in Memphis with Ryan Seacrest Broadcasting Studio. So I got to practice my voice a lot with children, using just different words. I'm not in a sports setting anymore. So that was very fun, very different, very challenging at times. And then after that, I went and had McDonald's cookie totes and watched Olympics mostly for the whole summer. So I really didn't do too much. I put on a couple extra pounds of muscle. A couple extra pounds of muscle and cookies and chocolate chips. But yeah, I think that was really much it. I'm excited to be back. First episode of the year, semester, whatever you want to call it. So I'm ready. We get an extra time, and I've been begging for extra time since I hopped on. So I'm ready. I'm ready
too, man. And Bryce, let the people know who you are. Let them know your resume a little bit.
My name's Bryce Robinson. I am from Clarksville, here in Tennessee. Been born and raised my entire life. I went to Clarksville Academy right across the street, and I've been a quarterback here at Austin Peay for the past 5 years. Been a part of 3 conference championships out of the only 4 in school history, so that's something that I've been proud to be a part of. And over the past summer, I had decided to kind of step away from the game for a little bit. I've been doing it ever since I was 5 years old, and just kind of got that mental burnout and physically burnout. So I'm kind of ready just to come home and start that next chapter of my life and finish my master's, and I get to hang with you guys every day. So that's awesome. So
what I'm hearing is Bryce is old, and he's tired of doing those mat drills at, it's 5 o'clock in the morning in February.
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes they're fun, sometimes they're not. They're fun when your team's winning all the events, but most of the time they're not fun. 6 a.m. in the rain, in the volleyball court, in the sand, rolling around. Yeah. Not fun.
They don't look like they're fun even when you're winning.
They don't look fun at all.
Yeah. So you can have that, Chief. But you have a good summer?
Yeah, it was good. Like I said, just trying a lot of decision making and a lot of find out what I want to do with myself and the future of my life. But like I said, I'm glad to be able to come back home and start my master's and do this with you guys this semester. So I'm excited. So
keeping it real, I know that was kind of difficult though.
It was.
Yeah, I know that was difficult. I mean, I was never D1. Had aspirations, but I ain't him for real like you. So I know that was very difficult though, bro. But I'm not gonna lie. You know sports. He knows sports. I know sports. We know sports. I think we're in for a good year. That's all I'm gonna say.
I know we are in for a good year. We're gonna segue to some people who may or may not have a good year, and that's Austin Peay football. So we're gonna jump right into it. Austin Peay dropped their season opener on the road against the Louisville Cardinals, 62-0, down there in the Bluegrass State. Mason Garcia got the start at quarterback, and so kind of answered that question, but had a rough day, finishing 3 for 8 for 19 yards. He had 6 carries for 7 yards. He was hurt in the game, and so we are still kind of questioning whether or not he is going to get the start this Saturday. Austin Smith finished the day for the Govs, going 11 for 16 for 53 yards, adding 7 carries for a whopping minus 20 yards and a fumble to his day. So some other stats: Austin Peay carried the ball 34 times for a grand total of 34 yards, averaging 1 yard per carry for all you math majors. And the Govs accounted for 106 total yards on the day and 2 offensive turnovers, as well as giving up 7 sacks on the day. So, guys, let's talk about the offense first. We'll get into the defensive stats later. But just watching the game and watching the performance that we have grown accustomed to the past few years and watching what we saw Saturday, what is y'all's initial thought of this team? And we may want to let Bryce go first because you have some hot takes.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I've been a part of the football program the past 5 years. I've had – when you look at it, a total of 5 different coaches that I've had. And, just when we always go up against these powerhouse teams, there's got to be some type of strategy. You never want a coach to lose a game. And I'm not saying that the Govs did that. You always want a coach to go in there and win. But talking about from their strategy standpoint, there's ways that you can attack these Power 5 programs, and it can get them on their heels. For example, last year when we played Tennessee, we were able to tremble a lot of success against Tennessee because we were able to get the ball out in space into our playmakers' hands. We were able to get the ball out quick and not drop back pass every other play. I feel like you cannot drop back pass against a team like Louisville and expect to have success every drive. You just got to be some wide receiver screens. You got to get touches. You got to implement the run game too. I know the run game may not be a great answer, but you got to at least put it in there just to keep them honest. Yeah. They're quick games and screens are extensions of the run game as well. 35 rushes for 35 yards. You got to be able to do something with that.
More positive than one.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, you're not going to go up there and just manhandle them because let's be honest, they're at Louisville for a reason, and not saying our guys aren't good, but
they're in the ACC.
Exactly. And they're picked to be a pretty good team this year. So I just feel like there could have been a different strategy going in to be able for the offense to be able to generate more success than it had. Not saying it would have won them the game, but they would have maybe got up some points, maybe gotten field goal range, maybe at least one time.
50-yard line more than once.
Exactly. And I feel like there's different ways to do it, and I feel like I've been a part of different programs that have had success against these powerhouse teams, and what we saw on Saturday, that just was not it. So
what I gotta say, I'm a tone it down, but I agree with you. Whenever I play football on the video game, like I said, I'm not D1 anything, especially when it comes football related. I'm an NCAA god though. But the run game is important. But like you said, find different variety of ways to run the ball. I think it would have been good. The backup quarterback that came in, Smith, number 4, right?
Mm-hmm.
Very athletic, very good. Even though he went 11 of 16, 53 yards, that's wonky. You did pretty decent as far as passing, but you didn't get any yards. I would like to see some read options. Some read options with him, maybe, make the defense pick the running back, or, then you can play that off of RPO, quick slant, boom. Or maybe, you can throw some little variations in there, maybe would have opened up the offense. But, I asked for that last season, I think we was doing a bunch of screens, and literally, the episode before one game, I was like, maybe we attack downfield, open up the middle, opens up something else, and then boom, I think we go for 60 points next game. I'm not a coordinator, but, I know a little something about football. I like the game, so I don't know what we need to do to improve. I honestly don't know. That we didn't do anything well on that game. I was not pleased with quarterback play at all. I mean, I see these as empty completions, what they call them, stat patterns. So I didn't think we did anything well. I would love to see the quarterbacks step up into the pocket. I've seen a lot of East and West Coast shuffling. As being a person who's played backyard football his whole life, I'm Kaepernick. I'm going to get out on the run, but love to see him step up in the pocket, make some of those tough throws with those ends and those linebackers coming at you full speed. But, you can't ask for too much. It's week one. It's week one against the ACC team, so, I take it with a grain of salt, but it's looking tough.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want this to be an indication yet of the way that Coach Ferris is going to run this program, because let's be honest, we did get spoiled a little bit with Coach Walden, at least in terms of his offensive prowess, because that's what he is. He's grown, he's gotten his way in coaching by being an offensive coordinator, like you said, Bryce, attacking in multiple different ways, right? Little slip screens, bubble screens, the quick game, like you mentioned, with some RPOs and whatnot. But you just felt like Austin Peay could almost do anything offensively. And I felt like watching that game, it was, hey, let's drop back pass, 5-man protection the entire game, not use any tight ends or running backs to chip. Nothing. And, we just got both our quarterbacks killed.
Yeah, we got manhandled.
And it's like you said, Bryce, and I think for Govs fans in general, like, we do have to remember that this is a Power 4 team in Louisville. Like you mentioned, Bryce, they are a team that is predicted to potentially be one of the front runners within that conference. They were in the championship game last year against Florida State, and they got a veteran quarterback, Tyler Schott, this year from the transfer portal. So
he's nice.
He is. He's very efficient. Very efficient
nice.
quarterback.
Well, he's seen a lot of college football. The way the guys, shoot, you kind of a testament to that. You were in college football for a lot of years.
5 years.
And you still have eligibility, too.
I got 2 more years of eligibility left, so.
Yeah, well,
you never know. So
you never know.
You never know.
You never know. But yeah, it is a tough situation, especially for Coach Ferris. Week one, it's definitely not what product he wanted to put out on the field. But I think the only thing you could take from this is, and we'll talk about it in a minute, is it's not one side of the ball that you can point to and say, well, this is the clear problem. No, it's everybody. Everybody has a role to play in this one. As we'll talk about the defense here. They gave up 571 yards to Louisville. They gave up 293 yards rushing and 278 yards receiving. Tyler Schott, again, he's a veteran quarterback. He's been in a couple programs already. Was, I believe, with Texas Tech last year. And I believe he got his start at Oregon.
He legit there.
He's been around for a while.
He's
He's kind of been one of these quarterbacks that, he goes somewhere, finds a home, he hits the portal. So he's kind of been all over the place. But, he had a pretty efficient day, 18 of 24 for 232 yards and 4 touchdowns. Pretty good.
It's a pretty efficient day.
It's a pretty good day. That's a very good day at the office. Who really had a good day at the office is our next guy, Isaac Brown. He's a freshman, running back for the Cardinals. He had 5 carries on the day. He had 123 yards and a touchdown.
He explosive.
Yeah,
he was
different type of fast.
Yeah, he was. Soon it didn't even seem like the ball was in his hand securely before he was 10 yards, 25 yards, 30, or however many.
Well, you mentioned 10 yards. Louisville averaged on the day as a team 10.5 yards per carry.
Yeah, that was easy work. Like so, we was talking about off camera, like they was getting to that second, third level with ease.
Yeah.
Like no problemos at all.
So, that's, if you're getting 10.5 yards a carry, that's literally a first down every play. Defensively, that is about as bad as it gets.
Yeah. Yeah, I think from a defensive standpoint, like I said, going up against these big teams, like you got to find ways to try to confuse them as possible. You're not going to out manhandle them in the trenches. You're not going to match them every time speed for speed. Those guys, like, speed is another level different speed, and it's just like you got to find ways to throw different nuances in there to be able to throw them off their game, whether that's show a blitz, back out, show a blitz, stunts, twist, all kinds of different things. So there's got to be different ways to be able to throw them off their game, show the quarterback a different picture from what he's used to seeing, to be able to make him think, oh, this one thing's happening, but another thing's coming. So, like, there's all different types of – and I thought our defense started off – the first drive was good.
Held them to a field goal first
drive.
drive.
Yeah, I mean, the first couple plays, they got some explosives. Then we got in the red zone, and I think 3 plays in a row, like, held them for no gain. And I was like, defense held strong in the red zone and held them to 3. I was like, okay, defense is going to have a, pretty decent day. Then that way it just kind of just took a snowball effect all downhill from there after that.
I mean, it's, you take a look at their other stats. I mean, Duke Watson, carried the ball 6 times for 86 yards. K. John Brown, I don't know if I'm getting his name pronounced correctly, but he had 9 for 65 and a touchdown. I mean, again, we talked about them averaging 10.5 yards a carry. Receiving wise, they were led by Ja'Cory Brooks on the day. He had 7 catches for 83 yards and a touchdown. And then gets even worse. Special teams, they had not 1 but 2 punts blocked on the day, which, that's pretty brutal in terms of your special teams, because that's another area that we've been really lucky in the past few years, is special, and not lucky, but in terms of their play on the field. We've had some really good special teams over the past couple of years.
We've had some really great special team coaches. Coach Hudd was our special teams guy when he was here after that.
Mm-hmm.
While he was here after that, Coach Walden came in. We had Joe Papalardo. Great special teams coordinator, and so, but I'll tell you this one stat. I don't know if you've probably heard it before, but there's a stat that if you block a punt in a game, that team has a 96% chance of winning.
So if you double that,
I don't know what it is. You double
100 and what is that?
196, 98,
86.
No, 90. You said 96.
If you block a punt, the team that blocked it has a 96% chance of winning. So 192% chance of winning if you block 2 punts in the game. So maybe that should be a new stat too. But you can't give up 2 block punts, especially in your own territory. On the road, yeah.
First week.
Yeah, like
new coach, new team.
I wonder how many games. I mean, it's happened because you just get a ungodly amount of college football games every year. But that is a stat that a blocked punt is already a rare play as it is, and then to do it twice. I mean, I tell you what, their special teams coordinator, he slept well that night.
Yeah, he ate good for sure. They took care of him.
They took care of him, and because I mean that's how I mean you've seen guys like the really good players like Sam Howard, Antoine Williams, guys who are no longer with the program. But still, that's how they got their start.
That's how they make their mark. Like special teams changes the game. Like there could be a day where offense, defense is not having a great day at the office. But that special team comes through with a big play, whether it be a blocked punt, or a punt return, kick return, whatever it may be. That could
just getting an extra 10, 15.
Whatever it is, a big time return. Like it could shift the whole momentum of the game. And
I mean, shoot, we saw you were talking about Cam Thomas last year.
Yeah,
I mean, you had some.
That was regular.
That was regular.
Special team weapon, man. He was just like, don't kick it to him.
Big fan.
Teams kept kicking it to him.
Yeah, I don't understand what the deal was. He was taking them to the crib, and I was on camera.
Mm-hmm.
I wish you would have stayed in my camera and did some sellies or something. Man, got us on ESPN or something. He was legit. He at UTEP now, right?
Yep, he's with UTEP with Coach Walden. I believe he had 11 transfers come from either people that were already on the team or people that were committed to Austin Peay are now at UTEP with him.
I ain't mad at him.
No, I mean you want to know, you want to play with the guys and I mean we'll see that with Coach Ferris. I mean we had a boatload of transfers come in, but I mean, that's the day in college football, but. So I don't know how much continuity there is. I mean, I know you go through fall camp, but I mean, this stuff takes time. I mean, it doesn't happen overnight. Like, I know people look at the transfer portal and they think like, oh, it's an instant fix. Like you say with college football, it's like you just plug a guy in a position and he's an 85 overall. That's not the way that real life works.
Yeah, this ain't the NFL.
No. So
the big thing is culture. Like culture will win you a lot of football games. And I feel like just a lot of guys coming in from all over the world in a short amount of time, it's hard to be able to get everybody to buy into one mission, like all these different coaches coming in from so many different places, so many different players, trainers, brand new strength coach with different strength coaches coming in, a whole new program for players that have been there. Yeah. It's completely shifted. I think there may be like 15 guys maybe that are on the team now that were there last year. 15 guys, maybe.
It's not a long
and
list.
that might be pushing it. 15, like it's it's completely different, and to be able to try to do that in a short amount of time. Coach Ferris just got here in January.
Yeah, January.
Yeah, well, he got hired back in December, but he couldn't get us all in the building until January, February. Like that. I will say he's put in a tough situation. Like almost the entire team left. Like he's got to bring in a brand new coach. He's got to try to find players to come and play for him. So I mean. It's hard for a coach to be able to do that in a short amount of time, but it's also something that's got to be looked at, and hopefully they can get it fixed soon.
Yeah, I mean, and you talked about the guys that Coach Walden took with him to UTEP. That's not even counting the guys like Sam Howard, like Trey Shack, who did not go with him to UTEP. They went to other programs.
They went to bigger schools, if I'm not mistaken.
Sam Howard, Tulane, Trey Shack, Washington State. So, I mean, there was a lot of talent on this team.
He ended up going to Tulane.
Sam Howard did, yeah.
Okay.
We had Travis Bates, where he go to
Kansas State.
So
it shows you the level.
Big 10?
What is it now? I think it was the Big 12.
Yeah.
What is it now? I don't know. College football realignment.
It's changing. We have to look at it again, but yeah.
Yeah, but it shows you the level of talent that we had on this team, and not that this team isn't talented. I mean, they're all Division I college football players. I mean, some of them came, from fairly big programs.
We had Georgia transfers, Kentucky transfers, like.
So it's I mean, like you said, this stuff does not happen overnight.
The glue just ain't set yet.
No, they have to come together as a team. Like I feel like it's rough right now. Like I said, they're just trying to pick and plug in guys that they feel like are good players. But like I feel like once maybe they can get a chance to maybe recruit some high school kids, bring them up, develop them as leaders and great players, and maybe they can have something special. But I think right now they're going to be in a tough spot right now.
Absolutely. So, just again, there's no one spot you can point at and say, hey, this is what we got to fix. They got to fix everything. And again, I want to emphasize that this was a very tough situation for Coach Ferris to step into week one. I mean, talk about getting, smacked in the face with your schedule week one. I mean, I understand we're not like the Alabamas, like the Louisvilles, like the Tennessees of the world, where we do get, a lesser opponent usually week one. But, I mean, you take a look at his schedule, there's really not a team that you look at and say, oh, well, that's a Presbyterian, that's a Mississippi Valley.
That's a confidence booster.
We don't have anything like that. Every game I look at and I'm going, man, I mean, it's going to be a fight every game, so.
And we fought last year, and we had very talented players.
Talented players.
And we was a very conglomerate. That's been my word.
Conglomerate?
Does that fit?
I don't know. I've used bonkers a lot.
Okay.
And that's not fancy, but that's a word that I've used an ungodly amount the past few weeks.
But yeah, we had a team last year for the ages, probably go down as one of the best teams in Austin Peay history for, at least my time here. I've been here just as long as y'all. And man, it's looking dark.
I mean, it was a special team last year. Like I said, we had very close team. I've been here for 5 years. Like that team and the 2019 team were probably the two teams that have been the closest together. Like talking about a locker room standpoint, like closest together. Like guys love being around each other. Guys love hanging out with each other outside of the facility. And it's like I said earlier, that'll win you games. Like when you go through tough times together, like as a program, that builds.
The culture.
Exactly, and like I feel like right now, like I said earlier, guys from all over the place, like they're in a tough spot right now, but it's something that probably can be turned around. But their schedule right now is like it
ain't helping.
It's not at all.
No, and I mean, we won't dive too deep into the off the field stuff that happened just weeks before this game, but I mean that has to take something out of you as a team, and what happened, and we won't dive too much into it, but. The person involved was a very integral part of the offensive plan. And then you pull that guy out, and you insert, a couple new coaches 2 weeks before the season. I mean, it's kind of, it's like you said, they're just trying to put something together right, on the spot. And, I mean, that stuff like that happens off the field it's unfortunate.
Yeah, it sucks.
And it has to take something out of you as a player, as a coach, as just a person who works in that program.
And you hate it for the guys that have been there for a long time, like the Chase Allens and the Harry Wilkes and the Chandler Curtins guys that are there that have been there and have helped bring this program up to what it was and to see where it is right now. Like they're in a rough spot right now, and you hate to see it for those guys, but it's just part of the part of what college football is nowadays. You know, like coaches, Austin Peay has been said to be known as kind of a stepping stone for coaches to go up to different programs, with Healy going to Charlotte, Walden at UTEP now. And so it's just kind of like, you know, who's the next coach coming in to help turn this program around, you know. So, but I hope those guys are able to finish out their senior years on a higher note than what it started off to.
Yeah, that's just tough. That's just really tough. And then that hurts, like, future recruits and all. You know, these publicities and storylines, news lines, they never go well when, you know, they go off the deep end. So hopefully we can bounce back. Because, man, I keep saying it, man. It's looking dark on the field, at least. It's looking real dark on the field.
It's looking dark on the field, and but hopefully, like Bryce said, you know, we can kind of at least finish the season strong. It is only week 1, guys. We do have to remember that. I mean, you know, we saw what happened last year with a very talented team, and we'll talk about SIU in a minute. You know what, you know, they did to us last year, but you know, last year we were talking about it. You know, week 1, we were like, "Boy, this team." You know, it doesn't look quite the way they're hyped up to be, and then they went on a tear after the Tennessee game. Yeah. So, but, you know, maybe something like this will bring them close. But, again, it's only week 1. But I do want to highlight a positive note for the football team. We'll end on a positive note, or at least we'll put the bookend on Louisville. We'll talk about the upcoming week. We have a great segment for you by our very own Kendall Ball, who is a member of the Austin Peay football team. And he did a story on one of Austin Peay's walk-ons, Michael Treadwell, who just received a scholarship, and he did a little interview with him. So we're going to throw it to you, Kendall, and let's hear what he has to say.
Hello, everyone. I'm Kendall Ball, and today I'm here with my great teammate here, Michael Treadwell, also known as Tread. Introduce yourself.
My name is Michael Treadwell. I'm a grad student here at Austin Peay. I've been here for the past 5 years, and I enjoy every bit of it.
So, you know, tell us about your backstory, where you come from, you know, how did you come to Austin Peay, what made you want to come here, things like that.
So I'm from Knoxville, Tennessee. It's about 3.5 hours away. I grew up in a town called Powell. I played there my entire life, and I think for me, like my recruiting process, like I didn't really have like the looks I wanted. Like I think everybody dreams to go D1, Power 5, and I wasn't blessed enough to do that. But at the time, Austin Peay had called me and said, "Hey, like we have a spot for you on your team, and we'd love to have you." And I think like it was more so one of the things like I wanted to prove myself, and I think I still come out with the mindset of like I still want to prove it to myself that I can play.
Yeah, that's great to know. So you've been here for 5 years, if
Yes,
that's
sir.
correct? So I know recently you just received some great news.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you finally were put on scholarship.
Right.
And tell me how that felt when you received that news.
I got to be honest, it still doesn't feel real. It was more so like, I think what I enjoyed most about that moment was how happy others were for me, and how much like the team like enjoyed just hearing me get put on, and like just how excited they were. Because I feel like, you know, there's 110 guys in that locker room all deserving of a scholarship, and you know, what I said in the video, like I'm a vet, and I think like stuff like that. It's more so a surreal moment whenever, you know, all your hard work kind of feels like you paid off. But for me, it's like I just love seeing all of my teammates be happy for me. I think that's what I love the most about it.
Yeah, it was a great moment. I was very happy for you. You know, I've only been around you for a couple years, but you know, you're always hardworking, and you know, college football is tough sometimes. Things might not go your way. Mm-hmm. You've always been resilient to that. Yep. You've always been able to, you know, even if you maybe get a role you maybe don't want, you kept your head high. And sometimes that's hard to deal with. You know, it's something I still struggle with. So, you know, it's great, you know, having you as an example. So, also, you mentioned the video, you know. It's all on Gov's football.
It is.
So, I got to ask about the Stone Cold impersonation. When did you, how did this become a thing?
So, it started my sophomore year. I had 2 roommates, Seth Johnson and Gavin Campbell. They both played O-line here, and we were just sitting in the living room, and I was just watching like a Stone Cold Steve Austin video, and I just out of nowhere just started like mimicking the voice, and they were just cracking up at it. And I think like the next day of practice, they had me like, whenever we did like the Juice Squad before practice and got everybody hyped, like I had like 2 energy drinks, and I like hit them together, and everybody went crazy. And then when it really started was, I think it was your freshman year. We were in fall camp, and out of nowhere, I just stood up because I remember they made Devin Smith like do a dance off, and then everybody just threw me up, and I just out of nowhere did a Stone Cold impression, and I think ever since then it's stuck. And so every fall camp, like I look forward to like a team meeting when morale's kind of low, and you just whenever you hear Stone Cold, like I got to answer the crowd. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So also, you know, we're in season right now. So how have you been getting prepared for games this season?
I think it's more so like trusting the game plan. You know, you're going to see something different each and every week, and you know with each opponent you're going to get their best. I think really it's all a week-by-week basis. You know, I never want to look too far down the season, but I never want to overlook an opponent. I think what really entails is like the work you do during the week. I think that's kind of what prepares you for a game. You know, my mindset was you're going to beat the other team on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Like that's when the work is really put in, and that's how you really beat your opponent.
Yeah, there's another question I want to ask about you being put on scholarship. So who was the first person you called to give the news to?
I called my mom and dad. My mom, she just recently had surgery, so she was at home resting, so I called her. She was taking a nap, poor thing. But I called her and I was like, hey, Mom, like, you need to go downstairs, and, you know, I got to talk to you and Dad. And I was talking to Dad, and he got upset at me. He was still, like, really excited, but he was like, man, you interrupted my TV show. And I was like, really, Dad? And I was like, I just told you, like, the biggest news yet. And then they just, you know, obviously the emotion started sinking in. I started crying. My parents were crying, but it was just a really surreal moment, and I loved every bit of it.
Well, that's great talking to you, Tread. And that's all we have for Crunch Time with this interview with Michael Treadwell. Back to y'all.
All right, that was a really good job by Kendall Ball. So shout out to him. You're going to be seeing him be doing more interviews this season. We'll be doing Players of the Week, and then we have another segment later in the show done by some of our other athletes and whatnot that you'll see. If we sound a little better, or at least one person sounds a little better, we had a little bit of a microphone issue that we addressed as well, because we don't do this live. For any of you guys who are wondering, we do this as a recorded show, but I think
I should be back. I'm back booming.
All right, so Dylan should be a little bit better, so we apologize for the first part of this episode if his microphone sounds a little bad. We had a bad microphone that we have since
banished from the studio.
Well, we didn't banish it because, again, this is not our stuff, so
Yeah,
let's phrase it. We didn't banish it, but we are going to put it off in a little corner
To get repaired.
to hopefully get repaired. It was like that, David Dellison, before we got here, so it wasn't our fault. But anyway, so Austin Peay's next game will be here at Clarksville in the Fort against the Southern Illinois, the Salukis. Ethan Schmidt was hitting us with some fun facts about how they got their name, but I completely forgot them.
Something about a mule. And
I wasn't here for that, so.
Yeah, it was. He had a bunch of random facts for the game. It was something about a mule, though. I remember that part.
Well, Ethan Schmidt's prepared as always, so we'll be happy to see him on the call for ESPN Plus. But talking about the Salukis, they lost their season opener 41-13 against the BYU. What are they? Are they the Wildcats? What is BYU? Their mascot.
Something like that. Their mascot is like some type of wildcat or something, though.
I don't think I've ever heard.
They're not the Bobcats, are they?
No, I don't think I've ever heard BYU talk about their mascot.
Cougars.
They're the Cougars.
Oh, we're both wrong.
Yeah. Well, we're
we
in
were
the
saying
cat.
I was in the
we're
cat.
in the cat family. Anyway, so they lost 41-13 to the Cougars. They were led by DJ Williams in both rushing and passing. DJ Williams is their starting quarterback. He threw 10 of 20 for 98 yards and an interception, so not great through the air, but he was really great through the ground game as he carried the ball 15 times for $121 and 2 touchdowns. The Salukis were down 14-6 at half, so it wasn't exactly what you would call a massive blowout in this game, even though the score shows a pretty one-sided score. Defense did struggle. They gave up 348 yards and 3 touchdowns to BYU's starting quarterback. I'm not even going to try to pronounce his last name. And some history with the Salukis. Last year they went 8-5 overall, went to the second round of the playoffs. And as many of you know, last year the Govs went to their home stadium and got crushed first game of the season.
Yeah, that was a big wake-up call for us. Great environment too, by the way. I must point out, great place to have an open. They had motorcycles. Every time they scored, they had motorcycles revving up in the end zone.
For real?
Yeah, student section, ruthless, ruthless student section. I'll put that out, by the way. But it was a great. That's what you want with college football. You love it. It was a great atmosphere. It was a real wake-up call for us. Week 1 last year. They had a great program, very well coached, and I don't see them being anything less this year either. So it's going to be a tough challenge for the Govs on Saturday.
We talked about this again last season, and we had at least from what we've seen so far, a much more talented team than we did last year. I mean, and I saw you watching some clips of the BYU game.
Yeah.
Before the show. I mean, what were your initial thoughts?
So, I'm not gonna say my prediction, so I wait to the end. But I think where the game could get really tricky is with this mobile quarterback. What's his name again? Williams.
Mm-hmm.
He can run. Almost like the Lamar Jackson type of elusiveness. He can make a move in a second. He can break through whatever, and his reads weren't that bad to me, in my opinion. Yeah, he threw one pick. He was 10 to 20, 50%, but we're going to chalk everything up to the first week, all right? We're just going to chalk everything up to the first week. It's the first week jitters. You got the game book or whatever. But I really see us where it's getting tricky is containing that quarterback, containing that. Because if you let him get outside and run, that's a whole nother play within itself. Then once he gets comfortable, any quarterback that gets comfortable doing whatever he enjoys doing, whether it's running or throwing or a combination of both, now you just open up a whole nother can of worms. And I could see a game where he gets out running the first quarter. Okay, boom. Now they throwing some RPOs, and he gets out. Now he's throwing on the run. He looking like Patrick Mahomes. He's side-arming some slants or some comebacks or some out routes and stuff like that. Now, then you open that up, and like you said, a good coach from SIU. You open that up, here come the run game. Now let's get to the dirty work. And let's just run it down your throat for the rest of the game because now we're already up 30. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So it could get. I think that's where we have to start first, containing the quarterback, and let's slow this game down. Let's make them ground and pound first. Let's see how bad do they really want it on week 2, and then maybe we can get our quarterback. I don't know which quarterback we'll have.
I believe Austin Smith is going to get to start Saturday for the Govs. So
all I'm saying, Smith, take it slow. We're not going to win this game in the first quarter. All right, we're not going to win this game. This game is going to come down. If we have any chance of winning, it's going to come down to pace on our side, on the offense. It's going to come down to pace. No turnovers. Convert on third and short. Convert. That's the name of the game, of course. But convert those because we're all on the road. We're 0-1 against them already as a school. So we just gotta play right, play with a great pace, and we had to contain the quarterback. That's what I think.
Yeah, you kind of mentioned the coach. I mean, Nick Hill's entering his 9th season. He is the head coach of the SIU Salukis, which, at this level for FCS, if you get anyone to have any success for any extended period of time, and he's still at that same school, that's a rarity.
It is, and like I said, when you have a great coach, and you're able to establish a foundation there and keep it there for a long time, you're going to have a successful program. I know, unfortunately for us, we have any type of success, the coach has offered a bigger job with better opportunities for him and his family, and then most of the time take it. And it's kind of it puts us in a tough situation, because I believe, Hudspeth was here for 1 year for unfortunate circumstances. He could have been here longer, but we'll get into that another time. Coach Healy was here, had success. He was here for 3 years. 3 years, Coach Healy, and went to Charlotte. Coach Walden was here for, I believe, 3.5. Yeah. Just as we started to get something really good going with Coach Walden, great recruits. He's off to UTEP. So now it's kind of like you're starting from ground zero again. That's how big a coach is.
We could have been a real dynasty with Walden, man. Oh man,
yeah,
what a year!
It's tough, but you can't help to be happy for him. He's a big. He's from Texas. He's going back home. making a lot more money to put him and his family in a better situation. So, like, he's a great person, too. Like, you just can't help but be happy for him, you know. But hopefully the one thing that hopefully the Govs can do this Saturday is go back and watch the game film and look at where they were in the right positions to succeed. Don't look at, like, oh, that he was just stronger right here. Like, look at, like, where was our guy in the right spot at the right time. Not if he didn't make the play or not, because maybe that guy was just 200 pounds bigger than him. Yeah. Was he in the right spot at the right time? Were guys doing their assignment? Were they know the play call? Did they know their job? Like, take the positives from where you can. You know, don't just beat a dead horse. Like, yeah, they were terrible. We got beat 62-0. Try to find the positives and bring your guys up. All right, you know what? You're in the right spot. Now we just got to finish that play. Yep. And I think hopefully they'll be able to instill that in their guys this week, and hopefully they can have some more success this Saturday.
I got a question for both of y'all. Obviously, last year we played them with Walden. If you're Coach Ferris, do you watch – yes, you watched the game from last year from a team perspective, but, like, from an offensive perspective – of what we did last year, do you think that can kind of correlate to maybe, like you said, finding some of those positives and maybe building on what we did offensively against them last year? Or
I don't think you watch it for your perspective. I think you watch it to see what you were expecting them to line up defensively.
So from a normal film session type of view.
But I don't because we don't really do a whole lot of what Scotty did. I mean, and to be fair, I mean, you know, the Scotty Walden's offense is very unique. It's very unique in the way it's run, so you can't really necessarily. I mean, you can find some similarities.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Certain routes, certain concepts, you know, certain run schemes, but his offense is really 101. Okay,
it is, and I feel like, you know, like kind of like you said, going back to watch it, I don't know if they have the same DC or not.
I'm not sure.
But if say they do, you know, you can go back and watch, like, what are their tendencies? How do they line up to a 3-by-1 formation? How do they line up to 2-by-2, tight end attached, tight end on the ball? Those different formations, you can at least get a little perspective on how they're going to line up and do things. You know,
quarterback talk.
Yeah, you can. It's different. And like I said, the playbooks are completely different. I've been in both systems, like completely 180. You know, like Coach Ferris wants to play fast at some points. We saw a little bit of that when they had some success last Saturday. They'll try to get on the ball quick, maybe try to gash them fast. But you can find out maybe where they're weak at, how you can find some one-on-one matchups, because players are different too. You may not have the same stud safety you have. Maybe they're better in some spots where they're weaker at. So you can try to find a way to put your best player on their worst player. That's really just the name of the game, trying to come up with one-on-one matchups. So maybe Coach Ferris can find a way. Maybe we had a little success at the end of the game toward him last year. Maybe he can try to duplicate that with his own fashion, his own little twist in it and functions in it. Yeah, because they're coming from I believe they're running the UCLA offense that they ran last year, UCLA. So hopefully they'll be able to find some nice little bright spots they can take advantage of this Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you don't talk about a tough test. I mean, you are at home, you know, first game of the season, or at least first home game of the season. But I mean, the SIU, and when we look at their record last year, and they went 8-5. This is a team that has to play North Dakota State, South Dakota State, both North and South Dakota, right? They now have to play the team up north that we used to play every week in the Battle of the Border. So this is a very tough conference that they have to play in and year out, and they may not always be at the top, because usually that's South Dakota State, North Dakota State. But they're still always good. They're still always kind of third in the conference. They find a way to get in the playoffs. And so consistency. So it's one of those situations where I'm not sure if, you know, I want to be as positive as I can, you know, with this situation. But it's hard when you look at a team like this coming in your own home stadium. A lot of things I think have to go your way. And so, I mean, I put on here, we want to do predictions. If I had to guess, I would say we're going to drop to 0-2 potentially. I would say score-wise, I don't think SIU has quite as an explosive offense, especially with them probably predominantly being in the run game. But I would say probably 28-14. I don't see us offensively being able to
28-14.
Yeah, I don't see us being.
So you low-key see it's been a close game?
I think it's going to be a little closer than expected. I think they are going to probably make some adjustments from week one. But again, the way that SIU likes to run the ball and their quarterback, I mean, and he's not small.
No, he's not. He's a big boy.
He's 6'3", 200, roughly 20 pounds. So he's not a little tiny guy out there running. So he's gonna punish you when he runs the ball if he gets a chance. So I'm going 28-14 in favor of SIU. Hopefully we can put a little bit more fight out there for the home crowd.
Hopefully this weekend will be we'll get a better glimpse into how the season's going to go based off of, a more favorable opponent. Not saying that it's going to be an easy game whatsoever, because SIU is a great program with great players and a great coach, but like just kind of another FCS team, more of a favorable matchup. We're kind of talking about matchups, but, I think my prediction, I feel like we're going to be in it. I think SIU is going to have some success early, and they're going to continue to be able to pile it on. But I do think the Govs will get on the scoreboard this week.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like my final prediction is going to be 42-14.
Okay, I was somewhere in that 42-10 ballpark.
Okay.
38-10.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think last year was from a fan perspective, like, I think that's the most people I've ever seen at Austin Peay game, like, consistently all last season. And for this to be the home opener, I hate to say it, but I really do think this might be a fan crusher. Like, this game just might kill all the little hope that, everybody had, and it just might go down.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens. We have one more segment that we're going to throw in here really quick towards the end of the show. Hopefully this game won't be a fan crusher, but we do have our own very much AJ that has our cheer coach that he interviewed this past week. And so they are the experts of, even when the fan spirits are down, they find a way to get the spirits back up. So I'm going to let AJ take it away and see what the cheer coach has to say.
Hi, I'm AJ Crowder, here with Spirit Coordinator TJ Bedaneshi. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Well, I just came with some questions to ask. Obviously, this is probably your first time doing an interview here in the communications department.
Yes, it is.
That's
I'm
wonderful.
very honored to be here. Thank you very much for having me.
That's great. That's great. Well, I would love to hear about your backstory and what led you here to Austin Peay.
Absolutely. I started cheering when I was 5 years old, and I ended up going to Ole Miss, where I never made the team, so I always found different avenues to cheer, and that led me to become a UCA staffer. So I was traveling and getting the opportunity to work with a number of different schools, which kind of gave me that feel that I needed to travel more a little bit and kind of venture out. So I started as a high school coach, and then I landed a job as the head coach at another D1 university, where within my first year I won a national championship. So from there, thank you, in spirit, so cheer, dance, and mascot. So when I came here to Austin Peay, I was super excited to get a chance to work with the mascot. And so I just, throughout my years of cheering and, always having that need to go somewhere bigger, and always I wanted to go more south, that's how I ended up in Tennessee.
It's definitely a lot warmer down here.
Yes.
It's beautiful. So how was your first season coaching here at Austin Peay last season?
It was an experience, that's for sure. And I always found that with coaching cheer, it takes a year at least to figure out what you're doing, because it's not just like any sport where you could just come in and play your same plays. Cheer, dance, mascot is all based on traditions of a school. So coming here last year, it was, okay, we need a game plan, but I don't know what it looks like yet. I have to watch, I have to see. And so my first year was a little bit challenging because of those obstacles in place, but I'm incredibly excited for year two. Now that I know the traditions, I know what, for example, Govs Walk looks like. I know what our pregame is. I know our fight song words. I know our alma mater. I know the little things that I didn't know starting off last season. So last year was a lot of different obstacles that we had to encounter, but this year we're off to a really good start, and I'm excited to get started.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
That's really great to hear, and I'm glad that you've had such a wonderful experience starting out here at Austin Peay. So now that you're done with your first year and you're on to year two, like you said, what is your, so to speak, like goals or like your mindset heading into this year and what you want to have going into year three?
Definitely just doing it bigger and better this time around. You mentioned goals. Obviously, we have a national championship mascot on our hands right now, so we're looking to go back to back. And another goal that I have for cheer is to enter them into the game day competition and really take what we do here at Austin Peay during game day, which is a very unique experience, and put it onto the competition mat in January. So goals are that back-to-back mascot championship and competing in a new division where I think that we can land top 3 in our first year.
100%. That's really good to hear, and I really wish you the best of luck with all those things.
Thank you.
You've obviously mentioned a lot of really positive things about the school and your experience here. So what would you say is maybe one of your most favorite memories being at Austin Peay?
That's a really good question. There are so many moments throughout the year last year where it was like, okay, this is why we do it and this is why we come back. But winning with the Gov last year was such an incredible experience, and just getting to be down there and watch that all happen was just absolutely amazing. And to be able to work with the Gov in my first year and see that success right away was so rewarding, and it's indescribable how I felt when that all happened.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm sure it took plenty of hard work, and I know that not only did the Gov put in a lot of work, but you did too, to make sure that you pushed them to the limits to get to that point to win that national championship, because it really is a big deal. And I mean, congratulations on that. I mean, that's wonderful.
And that's what was cool about the Gov winning as well. It was like, yes, I worked with him, but the mascot team really taught me a lot. So when they won and they put the medal around my neck, it felt like I was a teammate versus a coach. So it allowed me to kind of step back into that role of, we did this together. And the mascot team really, they are pros at what they do, and they taught me so much about what that was supposed to look like and how you achieve that. So it was a really cool moment for me to be done with coaching cheer, but step into that arena where they were winning and just watch as if I was on the team with them. So it was really cool.
That's a really wonderful experience to share. Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm here with Coach TJ, the Spirit Coordinator, and thank you so much, and we'll send it back to you guys.
All right, AJ, that was a really awesome segment to watch. We're going to be getting more of those throughout the season and throughout the year. We're going to mention really quickly Austin Peay Soccer. They are doing pretty well at this point. I believe you said they have a game tonight. They are on a little bit of a losing streak. Unfortunately, they've lost 2 straight, but they've been playing really well, seemingly to start the season. And, Bryce kind of mentioned it before. I mean, listen, we're not soccer experts. We're not going to try to pretend to be soccer experts, but we wanted to throw them a shout out to start the season and the success that they've had. Also, we're going to mention really quick, men's and women's golf gets kicked off this weekend. Women's will go to Kansas State to take part in the Power Cat Invitational Sunday, September 8th through Tuesday, September 10th. And then the men's golf, they will take their talents to Pauley Island, South Carolina for the Golf Week Fall Challenge. I believe that started either today or this weekend. But shout out to Reese and his team. Wish them all the success in the world. We'll be talking about him quite frequently. And then we wanted to give a shout out really quick to the men's basketball for their international tour this past August, winning 2 out of 3 games. We're getting guys like Daniel Liu, Cy Witt, Isaac Haney, and then obviously Mr. NIL himself, and so Emmanuel back this season. But guys, it's going to wrap it up for us here on Crunch Time. For this episode, we're going to be back next week, I believe.
Yep.
We should have about 8 or 9 episodes this season, so we're hopefully going to be able to do that consistently for you guys. But yeah, any last thoughts? Or here, you got about a minute left.
No, man, I'm ready for the season to really get in the midst of it. I'm ready to get to cranking these episodes out, man. I'm excited.
I'm excited too. I'm glad you guys are allowing me to be a part of this semester, and I'm excited to be able to tag along on this journey with you guys. I appreciate it.
First episode jitters out the way.
All right. Shout out to Isabella for running the switcher for us in a very chaotic episode 1, but we got it done.
Yep.
So, yeah, that's Crunch Time, guys, and we'll see you guys next week. Peace.